Are you tired of wrestling with the setup of a playwright automation framework when you just want to dive into coding? What if I told you there was a way to skip straight to the action with Playwright, complete with functional testing, APIs, Docker integration, and even GitHub Actions? In today's video, we'll unlock the secrets of a boilerplate framework that does all the heavy lifting for you. Whether you're starting out or scaling up, you don't want to miss how this can turbocharge your test automation workflows. So I asked a Playwright expert, Akshay, to join us to share his secret to setting up Playwright wicked quick. Check it out.
So we'll start with cloning the repo. So as you can see, this is my Playwright repo. And we can use this URL to clone it. So I have cloned it under my C drive. So if you can go to C drive and if you can give git clone https, so this repo will get cloned. So once this repo is getting cloned, so we can go to VS Code. So we can open this project with open with code. So this gets opened in VS Code. So once you install this, once you download this project, clone this project, first thing you have to do is you have to do a npm install. So in this, all the dependencies which is there in the project like Playwright, Xcore, ADM, Crypto.js will get downloaded. So once that is done, we have to give a command called as npx playwright install. So what this command does is it will install all the Chrome, Firefox, WebKit binaries that is required for your project to run. Okay. So once these two commands are done, I will show you how my project is configured. Okay. So the heart of my project is playwright.config.typescript file. So if you can see in this file, the first thing I have changed in this file is the environment variable. So I have defined an environment variable using this, and this environment variable can be QA, dev, QA API or dev API. And if you don't provide an environment variable, you will be getting this error message. So that is what this code does. So in this section where we can configure the browsers, we can give the global setup also. If you can see into my global setup file, so this is global setup file. I have given just a code to delete all my Allure results. So whatever the execution of the previous build is done, all the Allure results will be cleared off by using this code. You can give any global setup if you want. So this will run before your script starts running. So the second thing I have given is the global timeout. You can give the timeout in milliseconds. And retries is the number of retries. If your project fails, how many times it will retry. I've given it as 0. So next important part here is called as the reporter part. So here you can either go for Playwright Allure report or HTML report or both. Okay. And another thing you can go for is custom reporter. So if you can go inside this custom reporter and see what I have given is I have configured Winston logger. So this is the code for Winston logger. So here I have given add write to the console. So I will show this in later while execution. So on console, what it prints is on test case begin, it shows test case started and name of the test case, the title of the test case. On test case end, it will show which test case is completed. And if you are defining the test cases on a step level, so in this Playwright supports and the test cases will be like in Cucumber format, which I will show it to you. So all each steps will be noted in the console. So the debugging will be easier. So this is what custom reporter does. And if you go to the next session, you can see here inside the project, I'm giving the name as Chrome. So if you give in the project command the name as Chrome browser will open. And here the base URL, which I'm taking, we can see it here. I have given it as test config into bracket env. So if you are picking QA, so it will take QA URL. If you are picking dev, it will take dev URL. But from where will you know what is this URL, QA and dev? Where is this defined? So this is defined under test config file. So this is another file here. So you can see I have given QA URL. Similarly, you can give dev URL, API, and your DB username, password, and everything. You can give it over here. And from here, that URL will be read. Okay. So here you can see similarly, you can give Chrome, Chromium, and you can configure the other parameters as well. It is there in the Playwright documentation. So next file, which I'm going to show you is how the project is set up. Okay. So if you go to tests, here you can see I have grouped the test cases as accessibility, API, DB devices, and others. Okay. So we'll start with the functional test case. So if you go to functional test case and let's open any test case, let's open element test case. Okay. So here you can see I am importing this from base test. Okay. So let's see what is there in base test first in the first command. So if I can go to the lib session, here there is a base test. In base test, I have given everything as fixtures. So what is this playwright fixtures? I will give it in a small detail. So if you can see in Java code, every time for using any page file, we will write login page is equal to new login page. Okay, we need to have the object of that. For example, login page, elements page is equal to new elements page. So what this fixture does is you can see the same syntax I have given here. Login page is equal to new login page. Just I have used it as a fixture. So what is the use of this fixture is here, whichever page you are using, you have to define it in this order. So what is the use of this fixture? It will help in the cleanliness of the code. If you can see the code here, instead of defining login page is equal to new login page, I am directly taking the object. This will be taken from that fixture which I have defined. So your code will look a little bit cleaner. Okay. So this is what I am importing, and this is the command, and this is how we can import test from at the playwright test. So if you do this, you can import this directly. No need of again instantiating the objects over here. Okay. So now if you go to login page, there is a method called navigate to URL. So we can see what is there in that. So here, if you can see in page factory, I have created the pages of each page which I am getting navigated. Okay, like login page, widgets page, interaction page. So if you go in login page, here also we can see how we are taking the all the locators and all. Okay, so here this is the playwright defined standard. So this is how you have to give. You have to give the locator name, then you have to define the locator value. Okay, so this locator value and all these locators you can see in playwright official help page. They are showing how to get the locator, how to get by place order and all. So first of all, I have defined all the locators for this login page. Okay, so then here I have performed action, like if you want to go to page, then if you want to click on login button, and all these are given here. Okay, and expect what this does is this does a assertion also. So if this search box is visible, it will return true or it will return false. Okay. So once I define this method, I can call this method over here, login page dot navigate URL. So it will go here and it will go to navigate URL. If you want to click on main button, then you can give here the main button. Okay. So another class which you can see here is web actions class. So what is this web actions class? This is like a utility. So inside lib, if you can go to web actions, this is like a utility. Okay. So here I have given the first method, which is called as decipher password. And for this key is secret. So you know that if I give the password directly in this configuration file, which I had showed it to in this test config file, if I give the direct password, anyone can read it, right? So we want something that will encrypt this. So that is what is done in this web actions class. Okay. So here you have to uncomment this code and you have to enter your password. So for example, in my account, my password is demout@09. You can give your password and you can give a key. Here my key is secret. You can give any key and you can console log the cipher. Okay. So once you give your plain text password here, it will be ciphered. So this cipher, you can again give it in this config file. And later, while entering into the field, you can use this AES decrypt. Okay. So for this, I'm using crypto.js library. Okay. Here you can see we can use for ciphering and deciphering the password. Okay. So here again, similarly, all the reading from Excel and all the common functions are defined in this web actions. Okay. So this is the web actions class. So here also you can call from web actions, whatever you want, you can call it. And here in the test, if you can see, I have given this the tag name. Okay, this acts like a tag similar to Cucumber, and this is the name of test cases and what all pages we require. Okay, here you can give what all the pages we require and you can run these test cases. Okay, so let me do one thing. I will show you by running these test cases. So before running test cases, we can go how to run the test cases. We have to know that. Okay, so if you can go to package.json, you can see here for running single test cases. This is the command test is to single And this is the command npx playwright test login test.ts. So this will run the login test case. Okay. So if you can go to login test case and check here, the definition of test is somewhat different. Here I have given it in like cucumber format. This is also supported in playwright. Okay. You can give test.step, name of the step, and then you can call the method. Similarly, await test.step, name of the method, and you can call. So if you do in this way, and if you get a report or if you run in the console, you will get in the cucumber format. Okay, you can give it directly or you can give it in stepwise. Okay. So now going back to package.json, this test case each to single will run this test case. Okay, single test case. Similarly, test case.parallel will run that into parallel. But how will it know that how many test cases to run in parallel and which test cases? For that, if you can see, I've used the command --grep @smoke. And if you remember, this smoke is the tag given to this. So for alert frames and windows, there is smoke tag. For elements, there is a smoke tag. So whatever which has a @smoke tag, that will be run in parallel. Okay, if you give it as a parallel. Okay. So what if you want to run it as a serial? Okay. So for serial, you can give the command as npx playwright test grep smoke and how many workers. For serial, we use only one workers. So we have given ---- worker is equal to 1. If you want 4 browser or 2 browser to simultaneously pick up, so instead of giving it in serial, here you can give the same command in parallel. So instead of this one, worker is equal to 1, I will copy this, I will paste it here, and here I will do worker is equal to 2. Okay, so in this case, what will happen is 2 browser or 2 test case will be picked up simultaneously. Okay, so currently, if I don't define anything, everything will run in parallel. Okay, if you want in serial mode, you have to define this worker is equal to 1 and what is the tag name. Okay, and this project is equal to Chrome. This is the name which it takes from playwright.configuration. If you give the name as Chrome, capital CHROME, so this name will be picked up. Similarly, if you want Chromium, you can give this Chromium name. Okay, for currently, we will run it on Chrome. Okay, so similarly for recording, visual device, and all, I have given this commands. Okay, you can go through this. So let's run single test case and check what will happen. Okay, so the command for running test case is single is this one. Okay, so it is npm run test is to single, and if you remember, we have to give the environment also. So this is the --env is equal to qa. Okay, so you have to give this environment variable on Windows, otherwise it will not run, it will fail. Okay, so you have to give any environment. So let's see what will happen once you run the test case. Okay, so I have started the test cases. So you can see now it is getting executed. Okay, so you can see that the logger is into picture. You can see it is started the test case. It is going to navigate to the application. It is trying to execute this step. Okay, so similarly you will get each and every log for whatever the step is getting executed here because of logger. So let's wait for this, and this is in the headless mode. Why? Because in Chrome, if you can see, I have given as headless is equal to true. Okay, so if you want to run it in the browser mode, you can give it as headless is equal to false. I will show you that in a moment. So let this test cases run. So you can see this test case has passed and the status of test case is passed. This is also because of logger. So once this test case get passed, I have said that the report should be generated in HTML report, and this is given in that playwright.config.ts file. Okay, so here I have given like HTML output folder is HTML-report here. So here the HTML reports will get generated in index.html. So if you can reveal in Explorer, you can open it in Chrome and check. So if you can open it in Chrome, this is the result, how it looks like. Okay, what has happened and all those things will come. So now, if you want the results in Allure, so that is also possible. But for that, you need to have Java installed. So I have Java installed in my system. So if you have Java installed, you have to install the Allure command by using npm install Allure playwright. So this will install the Allure reporter. Okay, so that also I have given in README section. You can go through this, how to install the Allure. So to run the Allure report, what we have to do is we have to give this command. This one, npm run Allure report. Okay, so what I will do is I will just give this command npm run Allure report and enter. So it will open the Allure report. So it is nothing but Allure serve in the hood. So you can see it is generating it. And you can see this is the Allure report which is getting generated. Okay. So this is how the framework works for the functional test cases. Similarly, for API also, we have written the test cases. So you can see for Get, I will give a simple example. So here we can see that it is taking from API actions. And here you can see response. It is trying to hit that. And it is verifying the status code. So if you go in the status code, so this is what it is. We are expecting the response, comma, if doesn't have this 200 status, so you will get the error message. If it doesn't have 200, you will get this message. And this is what playwright is defining. To be okay means it will have 200 okay message. Otherwise, if it fails, it will give this message. Okay. And similarly, we can even give for the response body as well. So you can see here, I am getting the response body. But how I am getting this response body? So I will just show you how I have configured it over here. If you go to utils section in API, you can see here for get API, I have given this. So here in the response, we have two parts, right? Response body and response headers. So for body, I have given this like this. So in the response body, these parameters should be present. And I have divided that using this OR operator so that my playwright framework could know. So we have to split it on something, right? So I have given this. And here hash I have given. So this you can use anything. I use hash here to separate the header part. Okay. So all this is expected headers and all this is expected body. So in body also we have key value pair. So this is the key pair because the value will keep on changing. So this is the key of the response body and this is the headers of the response body. Okay. So here if you can see the logic, how I'm giving it. So here I'm reading the values from the text file and I'm splitting it on 0 for verifying the response body. And for verifying the response header, I'm splitting it on hash is equal to 1. So here for header, this first part, one part after hash will be considered. And for body, this will be considered. So if you can see the logic how I have written, I am giving here status is equal to true, field names parameter. So why I have given this parameter? If it fails, you will get parameter space which the field name has failed. So now you can see I have written a for loop, and if any of the status is false, so it will keep on adding the field names to this one. So parameter is there. So if example head is not available, let's say the parameter head is not available, something in the response there is a parameter called head, it is not available, it will say parameter space the field name which has failed. If head is not available, it will say parameter head, then again it will check. If for example there is another, let's say identification key is another body parameter that is not available, so it will add that identification key. So here the last output will be parameter head comma identification key was not present. Okay, so this is what it is trying to do. Okay, so let's see how we run the test case for API. Okay, so here for running the API test case, you can go to package.json and check. I have given it test is to API. Okay, so what I will do is npm run test is to, here I will give as API, and here instead of environment QA, you will give QA API because QA APIs are defined in that API, QA API. If you can go to test config, okay. So here you can see QA API. So it will hit this URL and it will try to get the response. So let's see what happens, whether it passes or fails. So in meantime, this is running. I will show you a concept called as path shortener. So if you can go into tsconfig.json, here I have given pages factory. So this is the syntax for this tsconfig.json. You have to give it here. Page factory front slash page repository. So whatever it is there here inside this, it will be called as @pages. So this is like shortcut. So instead of you giving page factory front slash page repository while importing, you can directly give @pages, @objects if you want to get from the object repository. So this is how the path shortener works. So if you can see here, if I go to any of the test cases, if I can go here, my test and all. So let me check it here if I have defined it somewhere. Okay, let me go to that base test and check. See here, instead of giving the full path, I'm giving @pages. So what this @pages is pointing to, this @pages is pointing to page factory /page repository. So like this, you can shorten your path in import. So this is one thing I have used. And in meanwhile, these API test cases got passed. Okay. So let's see what will happen if I fail a test case. Okay. So instead of page, I will change the parameter something over here. And I will run the test case again. Okay, so it is still getting passed. So let me check this. So if it fails, you will get that tag, whatever is there, that is not available. So uh, it uses contains. So let's put something in the middle here and save. And let's run it once again. Let's see if it passes. So you can see it is failed because this parameter name I have changed. Okay, and if you can see in the report, I'll show you the index.html file in this HTML report. Let's see here. So you can see it is failed. Why it is failed? Because of this field names was not available. Okay, and you can see here error message is giving directly parameter comma which parameter was not available, pwwag was not available. That's why we wrote the logic in that way. Like if it fails, you append it to parameter and then you give in the report so that reporting will be easier. Okay, so API functional are done. So similarly, we have written test cases for Lighthouse as well. So you can see here it is in JS format. So this is Lighthouse report. So you can go through this. And one thing to keep in mind is please don't change this Lighthouse's version. Okay, so for higher version, it is giving issues. So please keep it at 9.6.8 only. Please don't upgrade this. Other things you can upgrade it. Okay, so similarly, we have test cases for visual comparison and for reading the PDF files as well. So you can check it out on your own. Okay, so for PDF, I use the library, this one PDF to text. So if you can see inside this, so I'm using this. Okay, so read file in sync and get, I'm using this library to get the text from the PDF files. Okay, and it also supports DB. Currently, I have no DB setup, so I cannot show you that. So this is how the general flow of the framework is working. So one thing to keep in mind while debugging is if you go for a normal thing, so you can see, let me start debugging one test case for single. So you can go into functional. So here, if I want to put a debug point over here, you can see that Control Shift P will give you this debug npm script. Okay. So here you can select anything. Okay, let me take this test is to single for debug. So for first time it will fail. Why? Because here we have not provided the environment variable. Okay, but we want to go it in the debugger mode. So we will put it in debug mode. So we will allow it to fail. See, it failed. It didn't run, and you got a error message saying that. So now if you try to give the correct command here using like this, okay, single. So now it will go in debugger mode and do this. So this is a little hack here because we are given the environment variable. It will not go directly, but it will go in this way. So now it will go and stop it over here. So let's wait for it to come over here. So it is trying to debug here. See here, the debug point came over here. Okay. So this is a small thing you have to keep in mind while debugging in this framework. And I will show you it. We have said like for headless, if I give a false, it will run in this one headful mode. So here if I give it as false, so I'll just give it as false and run it over here. So now it will try to open the browser. Let's wait for that. See, now the browser has opened. Okay. So I will stop this test. You can try that using this. So this is all about my framework. So let's go to the important part of my framework, that is Docker. So I'll show you the Docker file. So this is how the Docker file looks like. So I've used Node 20.5.1 bookmark scheme. Why I'm using this image? Because if you take the regular Ubuntu image, it has 3 GB, and we don't want that much. We just want a system with Node installed. So I'm using this Node 20.5.1, and this is based on Debian. Okay, Bookworm is the version name. It is Debian 12.5, and it has Node installed. Okay, so after that, I'm creating a work directory called app in that container. Then I'm copying the package.json file from this project to container. I am running this npm CI. So this CI is nothing but npm clean install. So it will install the dependency. Once the dependencies are installed, I am copying this whole project along with node modules. Okay, so that is why I have given copy after this command. So this whole project along with that, I am putting it in Docker container. So after that, what I'm doing is I am installing only Chrome. Okay, if you do only install, all the browsers will get installed. I am installing only Chrome, and I am giving this command to run. Okay, so here it is serial. So instead of that, if serial takes time, I will give single command. Okay, so here you can change the command. So this is how the command looks like. Okay, test is to single and all. Okay, so for interest of time, I have created this image already. So you might ask now how to create the image. Okay, so I will show it to you. So I will just go to this command line. Okay, so to create an image, if you can go to readme section, I have given the instruction on how to create the image in Docker section. So if you can go to Docker container here. So let me go here to Docker. So here, this is the command. Okay. So if you run this command in the command prompt after installing Docker, of course, so you should have Docker installed. If you run this command, so the image by name playtest is generated. Here you can see the image by name playtest is generated. It is 1.37 GB. Now, if you want to run the container or run the test cases of from this image, you have to give this command. Here, command is little bit changed. Here, -e npm underscore config underscore env is nothing but the environment variable. So here you can pass QA or you can pass dev. Okay, here you can see we were giving just -env, but for Docker, command is little different. So let's see what will happen if I run this command. So here, what this command says is it wants to create a container by the name play container using this image. So this is the container name, this is the image name. So let's see what happens. I will run it. So it is trying to run the image. You can see here the logs are coming here. What is happening? Okay, it has started the test case. It is executing the test case now. So in the meantime, while it is getting executed, I will just copy this docker copy command. So why this copy command is required? Because the test cases are getting executed in container. Now you want the report on your local. So you want something so that it can remove the report from the container and give it in your local, right? So I'm giving this command. So docker copy, this is the container name which we had given. And from this, go to this directory app, copy this folder into my C drive. Okay. So once the execution is complete, I will copy this and I will show it to you. You can see now the execution is completed in Docker. Okay. The container is created. If you can see in Docker Hub and container section, this container is created. This is play container. See here. And if you want to copy the contents from there to your C drive, you can just give this. So now you can see successfully copied to C drive. So now if I go to my C drive, so let me go to my C drive. So here, if I go to my C drive, if I go to my HTML report, here you can see this is the HTML report, which is copied from my container to C drive. Okay. So if I go here, I will open this index file. You can see this was pass. Okay. So this way we can have the Docker container. So now coming to the next topic, how to use GitHub Actions. So let me show you the GitHub Actions file. So what this GitHub Actions file, where it should be located is, it should be located inside .github. Inside this, there will be workflows. Inside this, you have to give a YAML file. Name can be anything. I have given it as playwright.yaml file. Okay. So here, what I'm doing in this. So what happens in GitHub Actions is, so whenever you push or pull, or whenever you push on the main branch or pull on the main branch, this entire test suite gets executed. Okay. So this is like regression testing. When you push any commits and all, you can configure it using GitHub Actions. And what am I doing in this GitHub action file is, once I do any push or pull on my main branch, the test case should get executed. Whatever this HTML report is there, it should get zipped, and that zip file link should be pinged in Slack, in my Slack network. Okay, so I have a Slack network here, so it should get pinged in the Slack. So how it will work and what is this file, I will explain it to you. So this name can be anything. So here this defines the trigger. Okay, so what are the trigger points? If something is pushed on the main branch, or if there is a pull request in the main branch, so this job should get triggered. And for job, what is required? Ubuntu is required. I'm using this Ubuntu container. Okay. So now coming to what is this Slack webhook URL. Okay. So I will explain it to you. So if you go to my Slack, so this is my Slack. Here you can see I have created a community called as Playwright Test Report for testing. Okay. So now what we need to do is, whenever the GitHub has completed or Git action has completed the event, so that should get intimidated here that your test cases have been completed and all. So what we are doing is, it is a incoming action. Incoming from where? Incoming from GitHub. From GitHub, that trigger is incoming and we have to catch it here. So how to do that? To do that, what we have to do is, we have to go into something called as Slack incoming webhooks. Okay, so you can just open your browser. There is a good video on this on YouTube. So you can just go to Slack incoming webhooks. Okay, so you just go here. So here, the first link, you can go to Slack sending messages using incoming hooks. Okay, so here it is showing you to create the Slack app. So what you have to do is, you have to go create your Slack app. Okay, just click on this. There is a tutorial video. I will give the link. And here you have to click on I agree. Okay. So here I have already created an app. So you can create your new app if you want. And you have to do it from scratch. Okay. And you have to give some app name. Let me give here demo. And you have to select the workspace here. Which workspace? I have created a Playwright test report workspace, right? Like that, you might have your organization workspace also. You can select that here. Okay, so here I will give Playwright testing as my workspace. Okay, so here if you can see my workspace. Okay, so here you can give that Playwright test, that is my workspace. Okay, Playwright testing is my workspace. Sorry for that. Give me one moment, guys. Yeah. So here you can see this is the workspace, like Playwright test report, and Playwright testing is the workspace, and Playwright test report is the channel. So if I go there, you can see here Playwright testing is a workspace and app name is demo. So if you create an app, okay, so what will happen is, it will ask you to configure something over here. So what I'm looking for is incoming webhooks. So you can go to incoming webhooks. Okay. So here you can activate this. So once you activate this incoming webhook, you will get some kind of webhook URL. Okay, I will not show it here. It is for your webhook URL, you will get some webhook URL over here. Okay. So now what you have to do is, once you get webhook URL, you have to go to this GitHub. You have to go to settings, and you have to go inside settings, secrets and variables. Inside here, you can see actions. So inside actions, you go and you have to give this variable. You have to create a new repository secret, use Slack underscore webhook underscore URL, and you have to give your URL which was generated in that. Okay. So now what this code does is, this code takes that URL and sets it here. From that, it will not get to know that where I should post the report or where I should give the link. Okay. So here next step is checkout code. So in GitHub Actions, how it works is, there are repositories specifically for doing one purpose. So for example, here checkout to, this is only for checking out my code. So the work of this is only checking out my code. And if you can paste this in Google, you will find the URL, and the version of that repository is version 2. Okay. So here, what I have to do, first I have to check out my code. And in Ubuntu, what's next step I have to do? I have to install Node. So how will I install Node? For that also there is a separate repository and its job is only to install Node. And this is the name of the repository and you can give which version you want to install. Okay. So once the versions are installed, what I have to do? I have to do npm, so it will install all the dependencies. Then I have to install my Chrome browser. Then I have to run the test cases. Okay. So for running the test cases here, I have given serial. So let's make it single for the sake of this demo. Okay. So I will run this test case as single. And here also we have to give environment. Like here env is equal to qa. Here this is the command. Okay. So then after this job is completed, it will wait for 10 seconds. And here next command I have given if always. If always means even if previous step fails, it will come here. Otherwise, what will happen is if your test case fails here, it will not come here. It will not go forward. So you will not get the report. Okay. So that is the work of if always. So now I will check if HTML report exists after the run. Okay. So if HTML report exists, I will make it into zip format using that actions only. And after making it into zip format, I am uploading. For uploading that, I am using this repository. And the job of this is to just upload. Okay. So I am giving what is the name of that report and which is the path. Okay. So the path is HTML report.zip because it has been converted into zip files. Okay. And if there is nothing found, you have to give error. Okay. Then after that, what I am doing is I am creating a artifact link. So using your build number and build repository, it will create a link. And once this link is created, this link I am posting out on Slack channel. So for that, I have written this code, send Slack notification. Okay. And for that, I'm using this repository. Here you can see I'm reading the webhook URL from there. And which channel? The channel name is Playwright Test Reports. Okay. So that is my Slack channel name on this channel. Okay. And what is the username? You can give anything in username. And here you can give any message. Okay, I've given results are available. And here artifact section, I have put it like this because it will give a link. And this link is nothing but this artifact link. Okay, so what we had created in this artifact link, this I am using it here. Okay, so let's see this in action. So to see this in action, what I need to do is I need to push this. Okay, so I'll just check for the status. What are my changes here? Okay, so let me get inside the repository first. So in this, I will just check for status. Okay, so you can see all these things are changed. Okay, so whatever is modified. Okay, so I will just commit this and push it. Okay, I will just give a name actions. Okay, so there are something changes they have given here. Okay, later I will change this and I will just push the code. Okay, we'll do git push. So it will push the code. Okay. So once it pushes the code, if you can quickly go to Google Chrome actions. Okay. So I will go to actions. Here you can see my job is triggered with this commit name, which I had given. Okay. So now it is trying to run. Okay. So if you can go inside these actions and check, it is trying to run and install the dependencies. Okay. So see, it is trying to install all the Chrome and it will try to run the test. It will wait for job completion. And once the job is completed, you will get the HTML report. Okay. In the interest of time, I have already executed this. Okay. And here already some of the reports are available. Let me go to previous report. Okay. So here you can see it has taken the artifact URL and which is the build ID. If you click on this, it will take you here. Okay. And here where you will find the HTML zip, you can find it in HTML artifact session. So this is the zip report. If you click on this, okay, the report will get downloaded over here. So it is downloading the report, HTML report. So once the report is downloaded, you can open the report. Okay. So you can see inside this report, you will get everything. If you have failure, you will get trace and data. Otherwise, you will get index.html. If I open this, you can see all this report. Okay, what happened and all. See this and trace file and everything you will get it. Okay. So let me check what happened to actions, our current actions. Okay, so which step it is covering. I think it is still running the test cases. Okay. Okay, so it is waiting for job completion. So it has run the test cases, and you can see the test cases are passed. Okay, so it is waiting, generated the artifact link. Okay, it has checked out the code, and if you can see on Slack, see this is the new notification today. I just got it over here. Okay, if you can go here, you can get the report of this. Okay, similarly, you can configure any actions over here. Okay. So I think that's it from my side, Joe, regarding the framework. So anyone wants to contribute to this framework and know more about that, can ping me on LinkedIn and contribute as well. Yeah, so that's it from my side. So thank you, Joe, for having me.